Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be, maybe not so rude, but maybe politely saying no thanks to each other. This is a classic card game that I've reviewed in the past, but it just got reprinted from Mayfair Games. What's different about it? Is it the same? Is it different? Are there new rules? There are some things that are different. There are some things that are the same. Let's take a look. Now this game has cards numbered from 3 to 35. They're going to get shuffled at the beginning and 9 random cards are going to be thrown out face down so nobody sees which ones they are, and there's going to be 24 cards left. And here we start with the 28. Try and have the least amount of points at the end of the game. Everyone starts with 11 chips. Let's talk about how a turn works. Each turn, there's going to be a card out there. And if you end up with this card, that's how many points you'll get, most likely. And you don't want points, so you really don't want this card. So everyone takes their chips in their hand, and they keep them secret. And when this card comes out, the player whose turn it is can do one of two things. They can either take the card, which is taking those points, which you'd probably not really want to do right off the bat, or you basically are putting a chip in there saying pretty much no thanks, I don't want this. Then it goes to the next player, and then he'll go, no, I don't want it. And the next player, no, I don't want it. And the next player, no, I don't want it. Now each of these chips is minus 1 point. Now everyone only starts at 11. So at some point, it's going to be beneficial enough for somebody to take this card because, hey, if there's 20 chips on here, this card really only costs you 8 and you're getting a bunch of chips and everyone else is getting low on chips. And if you get to the point where you have no chips left, you have to take it. So this person, let's say they take all this, they have all these chips in their hand, and they have the 28. That player will then start the next round for the 7, and maybe they pass it around, and they pass it around. And it keeps going around and around and around until somebody takes the card, and then that player goes and gets chips. So it's a matter of managing your chips because they're negative points, but sometimes you'll get down to not having a lot of chips, deciding when to take. Super simple game, but very intriguing. Now let me tell you how the scoring works. For example, if this were the end of the game, I would count the 10, the 28, and here's the big difference. If you have cards that are in a sequential ascending order, in this case we have 16, 17, 18, you only take the points for the lowest one. These two are worth 0. Pretty cool, right? So it would be 10 plus 16 plus 28, which is 54. I would then take all the chips and minus those. Let's say I had 10 chips, it'd be 54 minus 10. My total score would be 44. The lowest points is the winner. But with this known, let's look at some other strategies that happens in the game. So let's say I have 10 this and this, and a 29 comes out. Wow. Well, first of all, 29 is great because if I get this, I'm essentially getting it for free because this is not going to score, just the 28 is. So automatically it's already free. But I can bet that nobody else really wants the 29. So it becomes sort of a press your luck element as it becomes people's turn. Everyone's like, I don't want the 29. I don't want the 29. I don't want the 29. And then to you, you want the 29. At what point are you going to take this and say, ha, I essentially got 0, but I actually got like maybe minus 10. This really helped me. At what point is it worth it for someone else to take it? Or does somebody run out of chips and forced to take it? How much can I milk out of people and still get this card versus losing it to somebody else? This is probably the most interesting part of the game, is watching that go around. That's pretty much how you play No Thanks. You play until all the cards are gone. After the last card's gone, you do the scoring like I showed you, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now there are a couple of variants you can play. First of all, instead of just playing one round, you can play multiple rounds, and whoever has the lowest points at the end of those multiple rounds can win. I like to just play once, personally. The other one is, I told you at the beginning, 9 cards come out. Well, you shuffle these out that nobody gets to see, and you deal 1 to every player. So secretly, I know the 21 card is not in the deck, but nobody else knows this. Then, at any time on my turn, I can use to play this in my area. So I could have gotten a 22 earlier, knowing that I'll be able to flip this up and that card's not going to be worth anything. It will change the way I bid, but only I know the real reason why. This is actually a pretty cool variant. The Amigo variant, instead of having 11 chips to start the game, you have 10. And out of the 9 cards that you randomly take out to start the game, you actually purposely take out the 10, the 20, and the 30, and then 6 other random cards. Everybody knows these are out, so they know that those gaps are there. So for example, when an 11 comes up, everybody knows that they're not going to be able to get the 10 to help that card out, and vice versa. It gives it a little bit more of a strategic element. And with this version, it's the first one I've seen, usually it's 3 to 5 players, but this one says 3 to 7 players. And with 6 players, instead of taking 11 tokens at the beginning, you take 9. And with 7 players, you take 7. So you can play with more players. That's No Thanks, the new version from Mayfair Games. All right, I've already reviewed No Thanks. It's an amazing, light game that I can bring in any situation. It's the game I bring to people that don't play games and they always want to play it over and over again. I love this light, simple game. It's one of those games that has that great, what I call depth to complexity ratios, meaning the depth is high, complexity is small, there's a good decisions to be made, there's simple decisions, but yet they're good, deep decisions, even with a super light game that has like 2 rules, take a card or play a token. Now, how does this reprint match up? So if you want to know more, you can see my other review for this, but overall, it's an excellent game. I recommend it for everybody. This is one of those games that everybody should own. Seriously, if you don't own it, go get it. Great game. Now, how is it the same? Oh, jeez. The cards are so ugly. I mean, come on. Every time this game gets reprinted, I get excited, hoping that somebody will finally put some interesting artwork, some cute colors, something. Dress this game up. It is so bland. It is so boring. You have to like talk people into playing this game because it looks so bad. Come on, you got a chance to reprint this thing. Make it look nice. Do something. Please, will somebody reprint this and do something with these cards? They're so ugly. But the game's great. Now, this game from Mayfair had a variant for 3 to 7 players where you play with more people but less tokens. I still think the game plays best with 3 to 5. Adding more is fine, but it does weird things up with it. You get less tokens, it's going around a little bit more. I mean, you can play it with more, good. It's a good little variant. If you had to shoehorn a 6 or 7 player in, at least you don't have to pick it up and move it, but I still think it's best with 3 to 5. Now that variant that also got added, the Tiger Hidden variant, where when the 9 cards go out, randomly at the beginning of the game, everyone gets 1 to look at. Now that's a cool addition to this. And I don't know if this was in any of the older editions. I didn't look. I know it's not in the most recent Z-Man edition that I have. And that's really cool. That gives us strategic depth where, hey, I know that there's 12 cards out. So when the 13 card comes out, I know I could bid a little bit more aggressively for this because I've got the 12 and I could slap it down. Interesting, one little twist, but makes it good. So overall, it's another valiant effort. I wish they would have changed the cards. It is what it is. They're still ugly, but the game's great. Add some variants, maybe some more players. Hey, no brainer, no thanks, you gotta get it. And together, let's spread love of board games and through board games.